Have you ever met someone who seemed incredibly charming, friendly, and all around nice, only to later discover a darker, more manipulative side to their personality? It's a disorienting and often painful experience. You start to question your own judgment, wondering how you could have been so wrong about them. The truth is, some people are masters of disguise. They wear a mask of kindness to hide their true intentions, leaving a trail of confusion and hurt in their wake. These individuals, often described as having traits of narcissism or even psychopathy, are skilled at creating a carefully curated image that deceives even the most discerning among us. They know how to say the right things, make the right gestures, and create an illusion of warmth and sincerity that is incredibly convincing. But beneath the surface, their motives are anything but pure. They are driven by a need for control, a desire for personal gain, and a shocking lack of empathy for the feelings of others. Recognizing these individuals before they can cause harm is a crucial skill for navigating the complexities of human relationships. It's about learning to look beyond the superficial and pay attention to the subtle, often overlooked signs that reveal a person's true character. It's about trusting your intuition and understanding that not all that glitters is gold. And if you stay with me until the end, I will share with you an ancient story that will illustrate today's episode. The first and most telling sign of a person who isn't as good as they seem is a consistent pattern of subtle disrespect. This isn't about overt insults or blatant rudeness. It's far more insidious. It's the backhanded compliments that leave you feeling vaguely insulted, the jokes made at your expense that are quickly dismissed with a casual, "I was just kidding," or the way they consistently interrupt you when you're speaking. These actions, while seemingly small, are designed to slowly chip away at your self-esteem and establish a dynamic of power and control. As the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." This timeless wisdom reminds us that we don't have to sink to their level. Instead, we can choose to recognize these subtle acts of disrespect for what they are, a reflection of their own insecurities and a clear sign that they do not have our best interests at heart. This behavior is a form of testing the boundaries. With each subtle jab or dismissive gesture, they are gauging your reaction, seeing how much you are willing to tolerate. It's a slow, methodical erosion of your personal standards. They want to see if you will stand up for yourself or let it slide. If you let it slide, you have inadvertently given them permission to push the boundary further next time. This is how control is established, not through a single act of aggression, but through 1,000 tiny cuts to your self-worth. They are conditioning you to accept a lower standard of treatment, making you more pliable to their future manipulations. It's a quiet assertion of dominance, a way of saying, "My thoughts are more important than yours. My comfort matters more than your feelings." The impact of this constant low-grade disrespect is a pervasive sense of self-doubt. You begin to question your own perceptions, asking yourself, "Am I being too sensitive? Did I misunderstand?" This is a mild form of gaslighting designed to make you distrust your own emotional responses. Over time, you may find yourself walking on eggshells, carefully curating your words and actions to avoid triggering their next subtle putdown. The Stoic response is not to lash out in anger, but to reclaim your judgment. Trust your perception. When you feel disrespected, acknowledge it internally without needing their validation. You can then choose to address it calmly, or, if it's a persistent pattern, to create distance. Your peace of mind is too valuable to be sacrificed at the altar of someone else's ego. The second sign to watch out for is a glaring inconsistency between their words and their actions. They might be incredibly charming and effusive with their praise, telling you everything you want to hear. They'll make grand promises and paint a beautiful picture of the future. But when it comes time to follow through, their actions tell a very different story. They might cancel plans at the last minute with a flimsy excuse, fail to deliver on their promises, or act in a way that directly contradicts the values they claim to hold. This disconnect between what they say and what they do is a hallmark of a manipulative personality. As the ancient Greek philosopher Epictetus wisely stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This tactic is often referred to as future faking. They sell you a vision of a future they have no intention of creating, all to gain your compliance or admiration in the present. Their words are a currency they use to buy your trust, your time, or your emotional investment. They understand the power of hope and the human desire to believe in the best in others. They exploit this by creating a narrative that you want to be a part of, but it's a narrative built on a foundation of lies. Their reality is governed by expediency and self-interest, not by integrity or a sense of duty. They are actors on a stage, and their words are merely lines in a script designed to elicit a desired response from their audience. You. The emotional toll of this inconsistency is a cycle of hope and disappointment that can be incredibly draining. You find yourself constantly making excuses for them, clinging to the beautiful words they spoke while ignoring the painful reality of their actions. This erodes your ability to trust not only them, but also your own judgment. You are left in a state of perpetual uncertainty, never knowing if they will finally come through. The Stoic path is to anchor yourself in the present reality. Judge people by the sum of their actions over time, not by the allure of their promises. As Seneca would suggest, character is not revealed in a single moment, but is the tapestry woven from countless daily choices. Observe the pattern, not the promise. The third sign is a complete lack of accountability. A person who isn't good will never, ever admit to being wrong. They have an excuse for everything, and they are masters at shifting blame. If they hurt your feelings, it's because you're too sensitive. If they make a mistake at work, it's because their boss is incompetent or their colleagues are sabotaging them. They are incapable of introspection and will go to great lengths to avoid taking responsibility for their actions. This inability to own up to their mistakes is a sign of deep-seated insecurity and a fragile ego. The great inventor and statesman Benjamin Franklin once said, "The sting of a reproach is the truth of it." This behavior stems from a worldview in which they are the perpetual hero or victim of their own story. To admit fault would be to acknowledge a flaw in their character, which would shatter the carefully constructed facade of perfection they present to the world. Their ego is so fragile that it cannot withstand the slightest criticism or admission of error. Therefore, in their mind, someone else must always be at fault. Blame shifting is not just a habit, it is a core defense mechanism. They project their own failures, insecurities, and negative traits onto others so they don't have to face the discomfort of self-reflection. They live in a distorted reality where they are blameless, and the world is simply a collection of people who fail to meet their standards. Living with or working for someone like this is an exercise in futility. You can never have a genuine resolution to any conflict because they will never acknowledge their part in it. You will find yourself apologizing for things that weren't your fault, just to keep the peace. This is emotionally and psychologically exhausting. It can make you feel as though you are the one who is constantly failing. The Stoic approach is to recognize the limits of your control. You cannot force another person to be self-aware. You can only control your own actions and responses. Disengage from the blame game. Refuse to accept responsibility for their mistakes. You are responsible for your own character, not for protecting their fragile ego. The fourth sign is a disturbing lack of empathy. They may be able to feign concern or offer superficial words of comfort, but they are incapable of truly understanding or sharing the feelings of others. When you're going through a difficult time, they might seem supportive at first, but you'll soon notice that the conversation always seems to circle back to them. They'll use your vulnerability as an opportunity to talk about their own problems, or they'll offer unsolicited advice that is more about making themselves feel superior than about actually helping you. This lack of empathy is particularly evident in how they treat people they perceive as being beneath them. The ancient philosopher Plato believed that the measure of a man is what he does with power. At its core, this lack of empathy reveals that they view other people not as fellow human beings with rich inner lives, but as objects or instruments for their own use. People are either tools to help them get what they want, obstacles in their way, or simply irrelevant. Your feelings are not important to them unless those feelings directly impact them or their image. They may possess a kind of cognitive empathy where they can intellectually understand that you are sad or angry, but they lack affective empathy, the ability to actually feel it with you. This emotional void is why their attempts at comfort often feel hollow or self-serving. A relationship of any kind without empathy is a profoundly lonely experience. You will never feel truly seen, heard, or validated. Sharing your deepest fears or greatest joys with them is like shouting into a void. The echo that comes back is all about them. This can lead you to suppress your own feelings, believing they are unimportant or a burden. The Stoic lesson here is to value genuine connection, which is impossible without empathy. Protect your inner world. Share your vulnerabilities only with those who have proven themselves worthy of that trust, those who listen to, understand, not just to respond. Your emotional well-being depends on surrounding yourself with people who can meet you in your moments of need with genuine compassion. The fifth sign is a tendency to gossip and speak ill of others behind their backs. A person who is constantly bad-mouthing their friends, family, and colleagues is not a person you can trust. Their negativity and willingness to betray the confidences of others is a clear indication of their own insecurity and a deep-seated need to feel superior. They derive a sense of power from tearing others down, and they will not hesitate to do the same to you. As the wise Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "Great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, small minds discuss people." Gossip is a strategic tool for the manipulative person. By sharing a secret with you, they create a false sense of intimacy and alliance. It makes you feel special, as if you are part of their inner circle. However, the true purpose is often to isolate the target of the gossip and to control the social narrative. By poisoning your opinion of someone else, they gain more influence over you. It's a classic divide-and-conquer strategy. They build their own social standing not by elevating themselves through merit, but by demolishing the reputations of those around them. They are architects of discord, finding satisfaction in the social chaos they create. When you participate in their gossip, even as a passive listener, you are drawn into their web of negativity. It creates an environment of anxiety because, on some level, you know that the person who gossips to you will inevitably gossip about you. The trust in the relationship is artificial and fragile. The Stoic virtue of right speech is the perfect antidote. Choose to engage in conversations that are constructive, not destructive. When someone begins to gossip, you can change the subject or simply refuse to engage. As Marcus Aurelius would advise, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. This includes refusing to participate in the character assassination of others. The sixth sign is a constant need for attention and validation. They crave the spotlight and will go to great lengths to ensure that all eyes are on them. They might dominate conversations, exaggerate their accomplishments, or create unnecessary drama to keep themselves at the center of attention. Their self-worth is entirely dependent on external validation, and they are constantly seeking admiration and praise from others. This insatiable need for attention is a sign of a fragile ego and a deep-seated insecurity. The Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely observed, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future." This person suffers from an internal emptiness, a void that they desperately try to fill with the admiration of others. This is often referred to as narcissistic supply. Their sense of self is not internally generated. It is a reflection they see in the eyes of their audience. Without this constant stream of attention, they feel invisible, insignificant, and anxious. This is why they will hijack any situation, a celebration, a crisis, a simple conversation, and make it about themselves. Their emotional survival depends on it. They are not sharing their lives with you. They are performing for you, and they require your constant applause. Being in a relationship with an attention seeker is like being a permanent member of their audience. It is utterly exhausting. Your own life, your achievements, and your struggles will always be relegated to the background. They are an energy vampire, feeding off the attention and emotional energy of those around them, leaving you feeling drained and unimportant. The Stoic practice of cultivating an internal locus of control is the best defense. Find your validation from within through your own principles and virtues. Recognize their behavior not as a sign of their importance, but as a symptom of their deep-seated neediness. This understanding allows you to detach and limit your exposure, preserving your own energy for more meaningful connections. The seventh sign is a subtle but persistent pattern of manipulation. They are masters of emotional blackmail, using guilt, threats, and intimidation to get what they want. They might play the victim to make you feel sorry for them, or they might use your insecurities against you to control your behavior. They are skilled at twisting your words and making you feel like you're the one who is in the wrong. This type of psychological manipulation can be incredibly damaging, leaving you feeling confused, anxious, and emotionally exhausted. The ancient Chinese general and strategist Sun Tzu wrote in The Art of War, "The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting." Manipulators view relationships as a zero-sum game. For them to win, someone else must lose. They don't engage in direct requests because that would be a conversation between equals. Instead, they use covert tactics to coerce you into giving them what they want, all while making it seem like it was your idea or your obligation. Tactics like the silent treatment, guilt-tripping, or playing the martyr are all designed to provoke a specific emotional response in you, pity, guilt, or fear, that will lead you to comply with their unspoken demands. This gives them a profound sense of power and control, which is their ultimate goal. The most insidious effect of long-term manipulation is the erosion of your trust in your own mind. This is the essence of gaslighting. You start to doubt your memory, your perceptions, and even your sanity. You find yourself constantly apologizing and second-guessing yourself. The Stoic mind is meant to be a fortress, a citadel of reason and clarity. To defend it, you must become a vigilant observer of your own emotional state. If you consistently feel confused, anxious, or crazy around a specific person, that is a significant red flag. The most powerful step you can take is to name the manipulation, even if only to yourself, and refuse to play the game. Your reality is valid, and you do not need their permission to trust it. The eighth sign, and one of the most revealing, is selective kindness. Watch how they treat people who they believe can do nothing for them. The waiter, the janitor, the junior employee. A person who isn't genuinely good will often reserve their charm and respect for those they want to impress or from whom they need something. To everyone else, they may be dismissive, rude, or outright cruel. This stark contrast in behavior is a crack in their mask, showing that their kindness is not a character trait, but a tool. As the saying goes, you can easily judge the character of a man by how he treats those who can do nothing for him. This behavior reveals a deeply transactional worldview. They see the social landscape as a hierarchy of usefulness. People are not valued for their inherent humanity, but are instead categorized based on their status and what they can provide. Those in power are targets for flattery and charm, while those in service positions are seen as non-entities, unworthy of basic courtesy. Their niceness is a performance, switched on and off depending on the audience. When they are rude to a server, they are showing you exactly how they would treat you if you no longer held any value for them. For the observer, this is a moment of profound clarity. It's a glimpse behind the curtain at the person's true operating system. The kindness they show you is conditional, and the respect they offer is rented, not owned. The Stoic approach is to observe these actions without judgment, but with clear understanding. This is valuable data. It informs you that the foundation of any relationship with this person is unstable, built on the shifting sands of their self-interest. It teaches you to value consistency in character above all else. For true goodness is not a performance for a select few, but a quiet, steady way of being with all. In conclusion, recognizing the signs of a person who isn't as good as they seem is a crucial skill for protecting your emotional well-being. It's about learning to look beyond the superficial and pay attention to the subtle cues that reveal a person's true character. Remember to watch for subtle disrespect, inconsistencies between words and actions, a lack of accountability, a lack of empathy, a tendency to gossip, a constant need for attention, manipulation, and selective kindness. Trust your intuition. If someone makes you feel consistently uneasy, confused, or devalued, it's a sign that something is wrong. Ultimately, this is not just about judging others. It is about strengthening your own discernment. The Stoics teach that we cannot control the character of those we meet, but we have absolute control over our own judgments and the boundaries we set. By learning to see people for who they truly are, based on the pattern of their actions, you build a fortress around your own peace of mind. You learn to invest your time and energy in those who are genuine, supportive, and who have your best interests at heart, creating a life built on a foundation of authentic connection and mutual respect. Now, before you go, Let me tell you a story that perfectly illustrates the danger of a beautiful facade. The tale of the two jars. In a bustling ancient marketplace, a villager sought a strong jar to carry water from the well. He came upon the stall of a merchant whose jars were a sight to behold, painted with vibrant colors and gilded with gold leaf. The merchant praised one particular jar, calling it a masterpiece. The villager, captivated by its beauty, was ready to pay the high price. Nearby, a humble old potter sat quietly at his stall with simple, unadorned clay jars. Seeing the villager's choice, he called out, not with a sales pitch, but with a simple piece of advice. Before you buy, tap the jar. The villager, curious, tapped the beautiful jar. It returned a dull, hollow thud, revealing a hairline crack hidden beneath the paint, a flaw that would make it useless. The potter then gestured to one of his own plain jars. The villager tapped it, and it rang with a clear, solid tone. The old potter smiled gently and said, "A beautiful surface can hide a fatal flaw. Always test the substance of a thing or a person before you place your trust in it, for true worth is not in appearance, but in integrity."